What's up, everybody? Wholesaling 101 here. I am Mike, the wholesaler. We're going to be talking about how to close on your deals. Now, last month we talked about how to market and sell your deals. This is going to be the closing process, the closing of the year. We're going to look at predictions from last year. We're going to look at predictions for next year, compare the two, what we think the next big strategies are going to be, what strategies are obsolete, all of that good stuff to get ready, maybe even some goal setting for next year, and get ready and hit it hard. All right. So let me get through here. Here's my contact. All right. You can call or text me about me. I am married to an amazing, beautiful, shy wife. I have two crazy kids. They're playing Fortnite. There's some live event. Oh my gosh, what? I've been walking around with a dirty shirt all day. Anyway, there's a live event, so they're going to be like excited. There's going to be characters, and they're going to be screaming that they're going to release into this game. This is my life now. So yeah, there they are. There's Noah, Lincoln. There they are again. I collect monopolies. I'm the wholesaling supergroup leader of REI USA. I won Teacher of the Year in 2018. And let's do a homework check. Okay, so last month was, and I'm pretty sure I have COVID, and they just didn't want to tell me I had COVID. But I've got this cough that like never goes away. Yeah. Oh, and probably since the last time you haven't seen, like, my amazing wife gave me like a Leonidas, I guess you could call it. So shaved on the sides, but yeah. Anyway, your homework was sell the deals that you have if you have any to sell. Ask another wholesaler if you can sell any of them. And then don't post ghost ads. Don't do it. It's so bad. It's so bad. All right. And then there was another weekend there that I talked about how to form a team, which was probably last week or last 2 weeks or 2 weeks ago. Last episode of Wholesaling 101 talked about how to form a team and how to convert to this new consultant model and how to not wholesale anymore. So we get rid of wholesaling and we do consulting. Okay. All right. And then, all right. So, hi, Mike. I'm driving right now and listening for now. Thank you. Okay. So, all right. Good. And you're driving for deals as well. You've got like, well, I guess if you've got batch driven, that'll work. Deal Machine, or the Driving for Dollars app. And always have those ready. So if you look on my phone when I'm driving, I've got it right here. See that? Batch driven. So I just click on that, boom, open it up. It's probably going to get replaced with Deal Machine pretty soon once I make that switch. And then let's move on. Oh, crap. All right. So in the new business model, when we talked about last episode, the closing now is going to be handled by a closing coordinator. So you've got those 4 people in your team, the last of which is the closing coordinator. All right. They call the buyer leads, they get the funding, they find tenants, they make sure the house closes. Even if you, like sometimes with some of my buyers, I'll get the fee and then they'll close with whoever they want. Wow. They'll close with whoever they want. I'll get the fee. And then, before I would just let it close or I wouldn't worry about it. And, they would close, but go make sure that those close, because if they don't, that seller's going to be mad, and they're going to be mad at you, not, the new buyer. All right. So you don't want that. And then checks with the acquisition leader if they run out of houses to close on. So there's that backwards help. Okay, so that's the closing coordinator. And then let's go over closing on your deals. Closing on your deals. All right, so you have an assignment, a contract that sells the purchase agreement to the cash buyer. You get a $2,000 to $5,000 non-refundable earnest money. It's made out to you or the title company if the buyer needs it. And if the buyer backs out, you can keep that money and sell it again. That rarely happens though. And then in the few cases where they do back out, sometimes you may want to actually just give that money back to keep a good rapport with them so that they'll come back to you on future deals. Because if you keep that money and they, they're like a multiple house buyer, you're going to lose that buyer and you want to keep them. If they're going to buy multiple ones, you're going to want to give that money back to them, keep them in the long run. You're going to make more money. All right. So you purchased agreement with the seller, the assignment agreement with the cash buyer. Okay. So there's your purchase agreement to the seller, the assignment agreement to the cash buyer, and then they close on it. So you have your purchase agreement, you have the assignment. The assignment simply sells that purchase agreement to the buyer. They then have that contract go to closing. That's what's happening. All right. Just sign the assignment agreement. What now? What do you do? First thing is collect the non-refundable earnest money. A lot of times they will not give it to you. They can't get it back. It's non-refundable. You want to know that they're going to close on it. Okay. They're not a sucker, but like that's the only image that I could find of a check. But you want to make sure that they're going to purchase this property and go through with it. And if they do non-refundable, then they are more likely to close on it. And you want them to have some, money down, money to lose. Because if you don't do this, you don't know if they're going to come to the closing. They're less likely to be a co-wholesaler where they'll try to wholesale your deal to somebody else. Now, why they don't want to include you in on that, I don't know. People, they call it daisy chains, where they'll take the wholesaler property under contract, they'll make a deal with them where they'll buy it. And I saw one, Mr. House Saver had one here in Atlanta. He had one where the wholesaler closed on it from the seller. And then 3 other wholesalers were in there and he was the last one. And nobody knew it. Of course, they were all just, and of course they all paid, I think like $2,000 for funding on each of them. And they made, I think, $3,000. And if they would have funded it one time, they would have paid $3,000 on the funding. But when they split it 4 ways, they would have each made, I think, like $5,000, $4,000, or more money than they did, which was just weird. And so like one guy closed on it with the seller, and then a wholesaler bought it from him, A to B. He actually bought it funding, not like assignment agreement. So he actually bought funding, paid $2,000, closed on it. He owned it for like 2 seconds, sold it to the next guy, sold it to the next guy. So just insane. All right. It ensures they'll close on it. They're less likely to be wholesaler, but sometimes they will be a wholesaler. Continue to market the deal until the check or the closing attorney tells you that they have the check. All right. And I would even go a step further and say that like until it is cashed. But you just want to keep people in there. So if you don't have a check and somebody says, all right, I'm buying it, they give you the contract, hey, I'll give you the check tomorrow. You keep marketing it. All right. You want to also let them know that because that for some reason they think wholesalers are pushovers. They think that you as a wholesaler, you just pick this up somewhere. They don't know that you have training through REI And so they'll say, hey, well, we'll buy it. They sign the agreement, but don't give you the check. And then, a day will pass. You'll get a check from somebody else. They'll buy it. Then they might be mad. Hey, we had an agreement. It was like, well, you didn't put the non-refundable earnest money. Next time, have that non-refundable earnest money. Teach them, train them that you are not a pushover. You need that money to secure it, and they'll be quicker next time. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they're, a wholesaling company, which are really bad. Collect the non-refundable earnest money. Scan the agreements over to the closing attorney. So you scan the agreements, you fax them. You can take pictures with your phone now, or you could deliver them to the closing attorney. If you send an agreement to the attorney, he'll run title. If you're unable to find a buyer, you'll have to pay him for running title. Include the seller and buyer's contact info. Okay, so if you send the agreement, the purchase agreement, to the closing attorney, he's going to run title. They're going to charge you $200 to $300 to run the title, right? Title insurance, all that. Okay. If you don't find a buyer, you still have to pay them. So wait until you get both the agreements, fax it to them, and on the last page or the cover page, include all of their info so that the closing attorney will call the seller if they need info from the seller and call info from the buyer. And they won't be calling you, hey, talk to Jim and tell me what his email is. None of that. You want to not do any of that. Okay. You got to automate it. Call the closing attorney after you send them and let them know. Now, don't send them on like Fridays, because I've sent them on Fridays and they sit around until Monday, like at the office of the closing attorney. So wait and send them like on a Monday, not at the end of the day. All right. They leave at 5, 9 to 5. That's their like schedule, Monday through Friday. So do it in the morning, send it in the morning, and then call them afterwards and say, hey, I've left it over here. And even write like the name, if you know the closing attorney, and say, hey, this is for Jeff. Like, let Jeff look at it first. All right. Stop selling the deal. Yeah. Stop selling the deal. Take it off your sites. If you have them, take your flyers down, take your signs down, pull it all up. You can put the sold on those things if you want to. Wait until you get both the agreements. If you send an agreement to the attorney, why is this on there twice? Stop marketing the deal. All right. What is going on here? All right, agreements, to-do list, stop marketing the deal. If a new buyer asks you about the deal, is it available? And you've already got the check, you've already sold it, it's going to closing. Still tell those new buyers, yeah, it's available. Send them pics. Hey, if you text me your number, or if you send me your number, or if you send me your email, I'll send you pics of the property. And then when they get the pics and then they come back to you, say, oh, I'm sorry, we just sold it a second ago. I'm really sorry, we got the check and it's going to closing. Okay. Because if you tell them and they call in, hey, is it available? Be like, oh, I just sold it. But, I find deals like this all the time. Do you want to get the next one? They're going to hang up on you because they're going to think that it's a ghost ad, but it is not a ghost ad. Okay. You don't even want people to think it's good. See, this is why ghost ads are bad. You got to do all this weird stuff. Okay. Market as sold on Facebook Marketplace or any other sites like that where you have to go in and say that it's sold. If the buyer backs out, what? Remarket the deal if there's more than 10 days left on your due diligence. Okay. So you can remarket the deal. If not, I would email or text the seller, hey, sorry, but I got to back out. If they call you, you can talk to them. but don't call them because there's no like record of what was said on the call. Text them or email them so there's like a record, and you could say, well, hey, right here, I messaged them and I informed them that, I would not be closing as your agreement states. If there's not enough time, do that. And say it does not meet your business partner's approval. It's always your business partner. That's the buyer. Okay, don't stress out. Just forget about it. Move on to the next one. Don't let it get to you. Okay, you're good. The agreements have got you. Mine have got you. They're rock solid. If you're using Stacy's agreements, they are rock solid as well. Do not worry. Now, mine are special to Georgia, so you may have to like mix them around. So then mine are not rock solid in like Tennessee, but I believe Stacy's are nationwide. But now mine is like a one-page agreement, so there is that. All right, hand the deal off to another wholesaler and see if they can get it at a lower price. So when the seller tries to sell with you and if it doesn't work out, you can't find a buyer, get another wholesaler who's the seller hasn't seen you with, that seems unrelated. Have them go meet the seller and get it at a lower price than what you got it at, and try again. All right. I mean, if it's a Hail Mary, you're going to lose it or you've lost it already. Is it going to hurt you? And if that wholesaler takes that deal and cuts you out of it, cut them out of your life. All right. It's better to know if these people are going to be your friends and they're going to come in and cut you in than to protect yourself. And later on, don't sign an agreement with them. I mean, you can if you want, but if you sign an agreement with them where, you're splitting this deal and, you're not going to know who your real friends are, right? I want to know who those people are. I would rather let my guard down, have some wholesaler steal my deal, and I find out about it, and then because you are the one that found that deal and brought it in, but not this other person. Okay, so there will be plenty of these in the future, and you are the one that's going to find them, not this other wholesaler. All right, move on to the next deal. All right, the closing. So this is the one that I believe the REIA endorses. Real estate title and closing services. Talk to Josh Rand. There's their contact info. You can screenshot this. It will be in later. You can watch it later. The closing. Make sure the attorney doesn't put the assignment fee on the HUD, which doesn't matter anymore because now the HUD, there's a different HUD now in the law for the seller and the buyer. So the person buying the deal gets their own HUD. They don't even see your assignment. And then the seller doesn't even see the assignment because it's not on there. The assignment is a separate thing between you and the buyer. You are stepping out of the way to let the buyer purchase from the seller. All right, wear nice stuff like a suit. If this is your first, go to it. If not, I would only go if they're getting 10,000 or more, or 100,000 or more, maybe even 50. But you really need 100. And so you ask them after they get the money, hey, what are you going to do with the money? Sometimes they want that money to reinvest back into real estate. And then, of course, then you have a new buyer that is all yours and only you have access to. Okay. So always good to do that. And then, at some point, they're going to be so automated. You're going to be like, why am I going to all these closings, and then they're your cash buyer now. All right. And then, of course, get testimonials. Obviously, on your phone, you can sit there like with your phone and be like, hey, I'm here with whatever. And, John and, Michelle. And, we're talking, I sold them this house. Do you like it? All that good stuff. All right. But don't list numbers. Okay. If you need funding, I can fund it for you. There are funding companies within the REIA You can then list it because you'll close on it. You can double close it to a cash buyer for more profit. You can do a rehab. Call or text or email me and let me know that you need funding. It's an option. All right, and then of course, make sure you celebrate. I like going to hibachi. Um, Not much anymore now that I'm got celiacs. But I do get sushi, so it's really good food. You got to celebrate, have a party every time you close. Give the team, like all the VAs, give them $100. All the other people, of course, if you're doing from the last episode, everybody's going to get their cut. So go out with the whole team, celebrate with the team, do all that good stuff. And then anybody that's being paid, give them an extra $500, $1,000 to get them motivated to keep doing this. All right, and then repeat. And then if you have a niche, or if you found one, or you did this deal, like if you did a mobile home, make that your thing, learn everything about that, make that your niche. Okay. And my wife says every time after I do this one, she says, "Oh, it's niche or niche or something. I don't care." I like saying niche. It's my niche. It sounds cooler too. It's like awesome. And less tongue muscle. 2021. Okay, so here are the what I thought was going to happen for 2021, which I keep thinking this is like, I keep thinking we're in like 2020 right now. But it's 2021. I thought that foreclosures were going to skyrocket. The moratorium is going to get lifted. It's going to be 2007 again. I heard that they were going to piece them out somewhat, but I never saw an actual plan. So Trump, I think, in 2020 was just pushing the moratorium up, or the people in his cabinet or somebody was. They just kept pushing the moratorium up, but I never saw an actual plan for what are we going to do when it gets lifted? Is it going to be like, only let 100 properties foreclose, or pick the ones over a certain amount, let them foreclose? Because right now it's just everything just forecloses. So that's what I thought was going to happen there. Evictions were going to skyrocket. The moratorium on evictions is also lifted, which I believe it's lifted right now, or it may not be. It's like the water ban, like nobody knows. 70% of people get kicked out. Call evictions, absentee owners, help the tenants find a new place. If you have realtors for, I have realtors for them if they need in Atlanta or in Georgia. All right, so I thought Biden was going to take office, and I was right. And Biden was going to appoint Bernie Department of Labor, which I don't think he got. I think he's still just where he's at. He'll push for a 25% tax on house flipping, pushes for owner occupants to have first right to purchase houses over investors, and we'll find a way around this. Now, this was my this isn't what like I wanted to happen, but this is what, as a stoic, I wanted to happen. I wanted that like worst thing, that harder thing to happen, because if Biden takes office, he was most likely going to take Bernie into the Department of Labor and push for house flipping taxes. So it was going to make it harder for us. So as a stoic, you're always hoping for the hardship that is going to turn you into a better person. You don't wish for an easy life. You wish for to be a stronger person. So as a stoic, right? And plus, I was preparing myself for this. Like, how am I going to get around this? Because if this did happen as the worst case scenario, I was going to have a way to deal with it. And of course, we didn't have to, because none of it. Well, Biden took office, but none of this other stuff happened. All right, so foreclosure overload. All right, so this one I think is finally going to happen. I get a list of foreclosures from an attorney who is pretty high up in that area. I spoke to him, and uh, there was no, he didn't get anything that the moratorium was going to be pushed back. There's no talk in the Senate that the moratorium is going to get pushed again, and there is still no plan. Unlike last time, there was, you know, um, there was talk within the, um, you know, don't let all of this, foreclose. Only certain ones are going to foreclose, but they are getting word that it's going to finally happen. They're going to lift the moratorium and let everything go, but there's still no plan on how they're leaving that up to the county, and leaving that up to the county is going to be a real hot mess. So it's going to be an even bigger 2007 now, because there's more properties. Cold call them, help these people. And that's the inside knowledge that I have. um right. And then evictions round robin. So the moratorium is going to happen again. It's going to get lifted. And then people are going to get evicted, because the person owning the home is going to foreclose. And they're no longer going to, they can't afford it. Person living in the house is not paying rent. So they obviously can't afford it. Both of them get evicted. They then have that eviction on their record. They go to move into somewhere else. They're evicted. They have nowhere to move into. So there's going to be a bunch of rentals that are vacant, that nobody is going to find anybody. Rent is so high. It's ridiculous how high rent is. Open Door is buying houses, and they're just upping the rent. They're paying more for the houses, and it's ruining the economy. And these people are going to get evicted. There's no way they're going to be able to pay this higher rent. There's going to be homelessness. I really think it's going to be chaos. It's going to be the market crash, and that's going to rely on the moratorium. So the moratorium for evictions stays in place, like it might, because it's separate from the other one. So there is a chance that the moratorium on evictions could stay in effect, and then the eviction or the moratorium on foreclosures can be lifted. So they're not together. Call evictions, help tenants find a new place, have realtors for them. All right, now, so I'm thinking ads and mail are going to be king in 2022. So right now, I get calls, I get texts from like 7 to 15 people a day. Hey, we want to buy this house. We want to buy this house. They call me, hello, we would like to buy this house from you. Some strange Russian accent sometimes. And it's kind of annoying. And I was talking to a friend, and he had sold one of his houses to Open Door. And he was like, I didn't get a single call or text from him. And he was like, I get these calls and these texts from people, and it's so annoying. I get emails, and I'm just like, I don't want anything to do with them. And I was like, so that's why you went with Open Door? And he was like, because he had to reach out to them through, I think he did a Facebook ad, but he would get mail every month. And then he saw a Facebook ad and was just like, let me click on it, see what it is, and did it. And he was like, it was nice not having like my phone blow up. And so I think that ads and mail are going to be king, because people are going to be nicer in those areas than as opposed to calling and texting. Now you can call a person and text a person and get right to them. And, I'm still doing that. I'm not giving up on that. But I think ads and mail are going to be king, especially with the consultant point of view, is going to be way better. Because everybody and their brother is wholesaling, right? And it's that path least traveled. All right, asking to buy houses will become a nuisance. They'll just be total trash. iBuyers will become a monopoly. So if you know about Dodd-Frank, Dodd-Frank was a guy who would buy a house in a neighborhood, and then as it would, being sold, he would go have his realtor list the property so that it looked like it was listed and sold same day, like one day on market, right? And he would just buy it, at whatever, and then fix it up, rent it out. He would then go and buy another house in that neighborhood, and he would sell that house, that first house, he would sell that to a tenant buyer, as that tenant buyer would pay a little bit more. So he would a little bit over what he would normally sell it at. And then he'll go and find another house in that neighborhood, and that house he'll pay a little bit more because now he's got that comp. So you have the house value in that neighborhood at, say, 100,000. He then sells that first one for 120 to that tenant buyer, raising it up a little. Then he goes to buy a new house, sells it to the tenant buyer for 140, and does the same thing. Sends the realtor, lists it that day, one day on market, boom, at that 140. So then the price of that first house now goes up to 140 because the other house was 140. All right. And then he's going to keep doing that, increasing the value of the homes in that neighborhood. And it's a false increase in appreciation. And so at the end, these other houses were appreciating way too high. And then, of course, cash out, refinance, all of that crazy stuff. And so they made that law, Dodd-Frank. All right. That's what's happening with Open Door. Zillow was trying to do that and they failed. So one guy sold a house to Open Door, and he found out that 20 other houses in the neighborhood were owned by Open Door, and they paid $50,000 over what his house was worth. And he was like, why would you do that? And he did it. And then he found out that they now own 21 houses in that neighborhood. And so that 50,000 over value now is a comp for these other houses that now appreciate. And then, of course, they cash out, refinance as a big company, and take that cash, and then are able to just purchase whatever at these ridiculous rates. It's obviously a monopoly. It's going to be seen as a monopoly, whether or not they get what's coming to them get taken to court, and they get taken down a notch, like, because eventually every house is going to be an Open Door house, and that's obviously going to be a monopoly, and they're charging ridiculous rents because they own all the houses in the neighborhood, and they can afford to have them just sit around until somebody's willing to pay that high rent, and nobody else can. So they weasel everybody out of the market, and then they just raise the rates, and it's just ridiculous. So hopefully that will happen, and that will make it easier for us. And then a lot more Dodd-Frank laws will happen. They'll apply this Dodd-Frank law to big businesses. All right, so close on your first.
Sorry, next. I'm having trouble here.
That was weird. So close on your first or next deal. And then that's it. Do you think I'm crazy in my predictions? Do you think I'm right on the mark? What are you thinking? Let me know. I mean, if y'all are driving, it's fine, and then we can just, but let me know on Facebook. Let me know in the REI USA Facebook group. I'll make a post in there and, say, hey, what are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen? So for goal setting, I think I forgot about goal setting. So on my Audible app, I just talked with my mastermind on Wednesday, and they mentioned some book, Measure What Matters, for a little bit of goal setting in there. And then what was the other one? I got so many in here. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Goal setting. Maybe the 10 the 10x rule. Smarter, faster, better. Influence. The psychology of persuasion. And then mastering the Rockefeller habits. Obviously, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, deep work. But yes, definitely measure what matters is what I'm reading right now. So let me know if you have any wholesaling questions. You can call or text me. If you need funding, I got you. Let me know if you want to buy the house or if you just need funding for your wholesaling business. Let me know, and you can spend it on whatever you want. Like, don't go on vacations, but I have funding that's not hard money and tied to a house. And then yeah, don't give up. I know everybody's thinking like, oh, this is not the month for people to get marketed to. They're not wanting to sell this month, so why even try? All those other people are saying that. So excuse me, while they're, doing that, you're going to push through and market to these people because you're going to market to them now. You're going to never quit being a wholesaler, asking people, if they need help with their houses so that you can close on something in January. Because if you give up this month and don't do anything, go back to your JOB and get started in January, you're not going to close on anything until February. All right. There's still people that want to sell now. They might not have that money by Christmas, but people, need to sell. I just let me see if I can get this. I just got 3 deals right here. I just got 3 deals right here in Rockmart, and we're gonna make an offer tomorrow. The guy's gonna put the offer out, and hopefully, we'll get all 3 of them for like 140, and then we'll sell each of them for a lot more profit than usual because it's a package deal. But yeah, so I'm locking these properties up. All right. I'm still doing it. You can still do it. Just keep doing it. Don't think like it's Christmas that people aren't going to want to sell. They're always wanting to sell. People are always getting evicted. You think like January or Christmas time, people aren't going to get evicted out of their houses. These landlords, they don't care. They'll evict them. And they're, again, they're finding ways around the moratorium. Like, oh, they're, using it for a home-based business. So that guy's definitely going to want to sell that house if there's no tenant in it and they wreck the place on the way out. So don't get into this mindset that like this time of year you can't do deals. You can. They're just going to close in January. It's like a slow train. All right. Don't wait till February to close on a deal. All right. Let me know if you got questions. This is going to be up there in a couple of days. Man, I don't know what I'm going to talk about next time, but next time it will be, oh my gosh, we got 3 Fridays this month, and one is on the 31st. I think we'll be canceling that one because the next day will be, New Year's, right? So the 17th, we might be doing that one. Yeah, that'll be the week before Christmas. So I'll see if I can come up with something. If not, I'll cancel it ahead of time. And then let me know if there's a topic you want me to go in more in depth on, like virtual wholesaling, like picking a market, that kind of thing. All right. So happy wholesaling. Let me know if you got any questions, and hopefully I'll see you on the 17th. If not, I'll let you know. All right. I'm Mike the Wholesaler.